Sam Altman just told the world to put their money where their mouth is. OpenAI's CEO, the man behind ChatGPT, just dropped a bombshell on critics who've been whispering that his company is burning through cash faster than it can make it back. And what he said changes everything. Because this isn't just about money. It's about whether the most important AI company on Earth can survive long enough to build the future or collapse under the weight of its own ambition. OpenAI is in a strange position right now. On one hand, they're making billions. ChatGPT is everywhere. Millions of people use it daily. Businesses are integrating it into their workflows. It's arguably the most successful AI product ever launched. But on the other hand, they're spending trillions. You heard that right. Over $1 trillion in computing infrastructure commitments for the next decade. That's more than the GDP of most countries. So when investors and critics started asking the uncomfortable question, can OpenAI actually afford this? Sam Altman decided it was time to respond, and he did not hold back. This all went down on the BG2 podcast, a joint interview with Altman and Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. The host, Brad Gerstner, brought up reports claiming OpenAI is making around $13 billion in annual revenue. Impressive, right? Except when you compare it to those trillion-dollar spending commitments, it starts to look fragile. That's when Altman interrupted. First of all, we're doing well more revenue than that. Second of all, Brad, if you want to sell your shares, I'll find you a buyer. The room erupted in laughter. Even Nadella couldn't help but chuckle. But Altman wasn't joking. He was making a point, a sharp one. He continued, I think there are a lot of people who would love to buy OpenAI shares. Translation? Stop worrying about our financials. There's a line of people who believe in what we're building. So let's break this down. OpenAI isn't just ChatGPT anymore. They're building an AI empire, multiple revenue streams, multiple products, multiple futures. Hey, here's what they're betting on. ChatGPT growth. The core product. It's already massive, but they're banking on exponential growth as more people and businesses adopt AI assistants. The AI cloud business OpenAI wants to become one of the world's leading AI infrastructure providers. Think Amazon Web Services, but for artificial intelligence. That's where the trillion-dollar compute investments come in. Consumer hardware Altman hinted at a consumer device business, meaning OpenAI might be building physical AI products. Imagine a ChatGPT-powered device sitting on your desk, embedded in your life. AI that automates science. This is the moonshot. AI systems that can independently conduct research, run experiments, and make discoveries. If they pull this off, the value created would be incomprehensible. And here's the kicker. According to Satya Nadella, OpenAI has beaten every business plan they've ever given Microsoft as an investor. Not met, beaten. But not everyone is convinced. Critics have been publishing breathless articles claiming OpenAI is on the verge of financial collapse, that they're burning money they don't have, that the business model doesn't work. Altman addressed this head-on, and it got personal. He said there are people who talk with a lot of breathless concern about our compute stuff who would be thrilled to buy OpenAI shares if they could. Then he went further. One of the rare times being a public company is appealing is when those people are writing these ridiculous OpenAI is about to go out of business posts. I would love to tell them they could just short the stock. And I would love to see them get burned on that. That's not corporate speak. That's confidence. That's someone who knows something the critics don't. But Altman isn't blind to the risks. He openly admitted there are ways OpenAI might screw it up. The biggest threat? Compute. Access to enough computing power to train and run these massive AI models. If they can't secure the chips, the servers, the infrastructure they need, if geopolitics, supply chains, or competition get in the way, the whole plan collapses. And then there's the AGI question. OpenAI's ultimate goal is artificial general intelligence. AI that can do any intellectual task a human can do. That's the dream. That's what justifies the trillion-dollar bets. But what if they don't get there? What if AGI takes longer than expected? What if someone else, Google, Anthropic, a startup we've never heard of, gets there first? Those are the real risks, not revenue, not investor confidence. The risk is whether they can deliver on the promise. Later in the interview, Gerstner threw out a bold prediction. OpenAI hitting $100 billion in revenue by 2028 or 2029. Altman's response? How about 27? That's not bravado. That's a timeline, a target, a declaration. He's saying we're moving faster than you think. And then came the IPO question. When is OpenAI going public? No, we don't have anything that specific, Altman said. We don't have a date in mind. I just assume it's where things will eventually go. Translation? It'll happen when it needs to happen. When the business is so undeniable that going public makes sense. Not before. So what does all this mean? It means OpenAI is playing a different game than most companies. They're not optimizing for quarterly earnings. They're not worried about short-term profitability. They're betting on a future where AI becomes the most valuable resource on Earth. And they want to be the ones who control it. Is it risky? Absolutely. Is it ambitious? Beyond anything we've ever seen. But here's the thing, Sam Altman isn't backing down. He's doubling down, and he's daring anyone who doubts him to bet against him. Because if OpenAI succeed, if they build the AI cloud, the hardware, the AGI-powered science engine they're imagining, $1 trillion in spending will look like pocket change. The question isn't whether OpenAI can afford this. The question is, can the world afford for them to fail? That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.